Thank you. I'd like to welcome you to this very short talk show on what do you conclude out of this GFMD Civil Society Days 2016.
Well, certainly it was another really important moment of how civil society has the capacity to get together with a lot of diversity, not always agree on all points, but managing to be able to be really concrete on what we want to do, leading to the next GFMD, which is the end of June in Berlin, but also linked to the Global Compact on safe, orderly and regular migration for September 2018. And as we increase our capacity to be able to be in the policy dialogue, we also know that the space is shrinking for us to be able to express this at national level in a large number of countries, but also sometimes also at global level. Just to give examples, non-ECOSOC organizations have to have the possibility also to be able to express themselves in the UN setting, for instance. It is so important that it's not only the large organizations like the one I work for, Terre des Hommes, and others that are in the dialogue. It's important also to have smaller grassroots organizations. They're not necessarily ECOSOC organizations. Yeah.
You probably know we are one of the two co-facilitators of this Global Compact. Our role is more to listen, to pick up all the positions which are existing from the government side, but also from civil society groups, and then to work towards compromise and consensus solutions. So we are not the ones setting the agenda, coming with we have to include this and that in the agenda. We have to see what's there, and that's at the moment our role. At the end of the day, a global compact can only work if there is a good balance between the protection agenda, how to protect the rights of migrants, and the governance agenda, how we can govern flows of migration, and both of it has to come together.
Coming back to your question then, with regards to what are those entry points? The entry points is, Ignacio spoke about a shrinking space here on the ground in some countries. Huh? That shrinking space is also in Switzerland. A shrinking space doesn't have to be in a sending country or in a receiving country. It's across the board for civil society. So if we want to make sure that that shrinking space doesn't shrink further and instead enhance civil society's participation, then let civil society be able to, with their differences, be able to come together through a single platform with the government. So at any national level, there needs to be some kind of a national network. And this is why the platform that you're coordinating, that Caritas and Helvetas are coordinating, I think is very important, because you bring that coordination aspect of civil society to be able to talk together with the government. That voice is very important. Civil society needs to be able to find voices at regional levels. At regional levels, this has always been a challenge as well. So how do you find the national network, build the national network, keep the national platform, bring it up to the government at the national level in all countries, not just in Switzerland, and then take it on to regional processes? And how do you build that as a good entry point at regional policy dialogue? I think that then would be a good first stepping stone.
On everything, I think we have to be concentrated. Migration policy has to be based on evidence and anchored in values, and the values that we have chosen are of course human rights values. And it's not to reinvent things. Everything, the framework is there. It's how to translate it now, and we have to read it through economics. So then that means, and that involves everybody. It's not one stakeholder who's going to change things. When you have the exploitation of migrant workers in all the from the moment they are recruited up to the long months of hard work that they do, sometimes unpaid and so on. And this is very difficult to manage, but absolutely possible to manage. What does it mean for us? It means also us as citizens in Switzerland, we're going to have to make a better choice of where we're purchasing our T-shirts. And that all the value chain is controlled. Because behind every one of our T-shirts, or many of our T-shirts, there is human suffering, which is linked to migrant workers. And that is also the coherence that we have to get as citizens, The second coherence that we need is also with the Swiss Parliament, who decides to reduce the budget, for instance, for the overseas development aid. I mean, you have to be also focusing some of this to be able to diminish the impacts of countries that are struggling to be able to offer education, offer job opportunities. And overseas development aid is one of the instruments that, well focused, contributes to work on this. And this is so important, because then you would have more informed migrant workers who would be then going abroad to work. So they would go abroad to work in far better circumstances, which they would then be able to be better protected in terms of their rights.
I think we have quite an interesting track record when it comes to human rights policy worldwide. When it comes to setting of standards and norms, and when it comes to develop new norms and new forms of protection. I mean, just as an example, the Nansen Initiative, which speaks for climate refugees, I think that's something which has entered the global scene of migration governance as a new initiative, and it's definitely a useful contribution. We have to work daily, and that's what colleagues have said today, to have coherence. Coherence starts with the citizen, with a decision to buy a T-shirt or not to buy it, but the governments have to be coherent as well. So we cannot preach global standards and have a different policy when it comes to migration to Switzerland. So we need to find coherence, and that's where we need to make compromises as well.
The audience of this talk show is also the Swiss civil society. What is the messages you will give them now as a next step? How to engage towards the next GFMD in Germany or towards the Global Compact?
We want them to make their voices heard in Switzerland, but also globally. Not alone as small Swiss NGOs, but the more effective they can link up with NGOs and with civil society representatives worldwide. I think the bigger the chance is that their voice will be heard, and this will help us, the diplomats, to do our job better.
Is the voice heard, Ignacio?
Well, we've just spent 2 days, which are civil society days, where civil society invites governments, UN agencies to take part in the civil society days. So the governments and the UN agencies that are here, we speak similar voices. We have different functions, but we're working and pulling in the same direction. It's not like if there were two camps and so on. Then afterwards, when you enter into a common space, well, then you have governments who are afraid of civil society. But civil society is well organized. We have to be really focused, and we have improved. I mean, global forums 5 or 6 years ago will come with a shopping list of recommendations. Here, such as after the summit, we have 7 actions that world leaders urgently need to take. So also for Swiss citizens, or for people that are informed and living in Switzerland, language. We have to make sure that we are speaking the words of our hearts, of the values that we defend. Our tongue is linked to our heart. So if we talk about illegal migrants, our brain conducts us to illegality, detention. If we talk about undocumented, our brain is going to bring us to something else. If we talk about input and output stocks of migrants, rather, 10,000 output stock of migrants go in from Bangladesh to the Emirates. They're just goods, tradable, but these are human beings. And many other examples of language that we have to learn within civil society and in our discussions with any stakeholders to correct. Because it's not just about a word, it's how we are framing things. And that's extremely important. And that has to be the daily job of all citizens or all people who are defending the values that we have chosen that are based on the framework of human rights.